Today I'm going to show you how to make these crochet baby pants. The first step is going to be to make a chain of 3 stitches. So make a slip knot and then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a double crochet into that first chain, but with a few extra steps in order for it to create a foundation chain all along. So yarn over, go into that first stitch from the chain, and then we're going to do like this. Pull through 1 loop, again pull through just 1 loop, and then we do the double crochet. So pull through 2 and then pull through 2. And look, we created an extra stitch here on the bottom. You could even see it. It's a little unclear, but you could see here this little V over here, which is the new stitch that we created on the bottom. So again, yarn over. Now we're going into this new stitch. So go into over here, pull through once, again pull through 1, and then pull through 2 and pull through 2. Here we can see that we're creating double crochet on the foundation, and we're also making these new stitches over here on the bottom, which will help us to continue growing our foundation. So again, yarn over. You could hold it upside down like this, and like this you can find easily the new stitch that you need to go into. Going through both sides of the V, pull through 1, pull through 1 again, and then pull through 2 and pull through 2. Yarn over, going into the new stitch that we created over here. Pull through 1, pull through 1, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Again, yarn over. I like to hold it upside down, and like this I can easily see where the new stitch is and where I need to go in for the next one. So go in here, 1, 1, and then 2 and 2. An easy way you can remember how to do it is you go in and then you pull 1, pull 1, pull 2, pull 2. So it's twice pulling 1 and twice pulling 2. When I say pulling 2 and 1, I mean pulling through loops. So pull 1 loop, pull through 1 loop, then pull through 2 loops and pull through 2 loops. Go inside, pull through once, twice, twice. And this is basically how we're going to create our foundation chain, which will be the top part, the ribbing on the top of the pants. So continue doing this until you have a large enough foundation to go in the round the size you want for the pants. Once you have a long enough chain for the size that you want, right before we're going to join it in the round, make sure that you have an even number of stitches. So just count it quickly. 6, 8, 10. Once you have a big enough foundation chain, before we're going to join it in the round, just make sure that you have an even number of stitches. That's later we're going to be dividing it into 2 for the legs, so that it should be easy to divide it. I have here 74 stitches, and that's enough for the size that I'm making. And now we're going to join it in the round. So making sure that it's not twisted, just make sure that it's folded nicely and not twisted. I'm going to fold the beginning. I'm going to bring the beginning over to here and slip stitch into that first chain over here that we made a chain 3. So that third one over here, I'm going to slip stitch into there, just like that. Okay, now this opening over here, later when we sew in this tail, we're going to close it up, so we're just going to ignore it for now. And now what we do is chain 2, and now we're going to make 1 front post double crochet into this first one over here. So the way we do that is yarn over, and then not going into the stitch on top, we're going to go in front and back of this stitch, so into the side and coming out from the other side. Over here you go in from this side and you come out from the other side of this stitch, and you make a double crochet. So pull through 2 and pull through 2. Here we've created a front post double crochet. And the next one we're going to do a back post double crochet. So yarn over, and then we turn this around a bit. We're going to go just like we did over here from both sides of the stitch, but from the other side, going in from the back to the front. So here and there. See, we went through the back side of the stitch, and now make a double crochet, pull through 2 and pull through 2. And here we've created a back post double crochet. Next one we're going to do a front post double crochet. So again, yarn over, going through the sides of the stitch and making a double crochet stitch. Here we go. And the next one we're going to do a back post double crochet again. Yarn over, coming in from the back and to the back like that. Pull through 2 and pull through 2. So this is basically the pattern that we're going to be doing around for 2 rows to make the waistband of the pants. 1 front post double crochet and 1 back post double crochet. So 1 front and back. One front and back. So we're going to repeat that all around. Once you've reached the end of the row, we're going to close this row by going into that first chain of the chain 2 and doing a slip stitch into it. Now we begin our second row of ribbing by chaining 2 and then making front posts into the front post ones and back posts into the back post. So just repeating the row all the way around. Again, once you reach the end, we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch of the chain 2 from the previous row. And with that, our waistband is done. Now we're going to begin with the actual body of the pants and with the design of the ribbing. So we begin by chaining 1, and then beginning from the next stitch, we're going to make a half double crochet into each back loop of the V. So yarn over, going into the back loop only, we pull through once and then pull through all 3 loops on the hook. Again, we begin from the next stitch after the chain 1. Again, yarn over, going into the back loop only, we're going to pull through once and then pull through all 3. And that's how we create a half double crochet into these back loops of each V. Yarn over, go into the back loop only, pull through 1, pull through 3. Once you've reached the end, we're going to ignore that loop from the slip stitch and instead go into that chain 1 that we did at the beginning and slip stitch into that. Then chain 1, turn your work, and now we're going to be working again in the back loops. Now you're not going to go into this row of V's that you see here in front. Instead, we're going to go into the row of V's that's on top. So make sure that you're going into the correct row so you shouldn't get confused. Turn your work a bit to the side, and like this you could see it clearly, the row of V's that you're supposed to go into the back loop of. So beginning with the stitch right after your chain 1, we're going to begin making our half double crochets into the back loop. Now again, ignore the slip stitch one and instead go into that chain 1 that we did at the beginning and make a slip stitch. And now we just repeat again. Chain 1, turn around, beginning with the next stitch over, making sure we're on the right row, going into the back loops. So beginning with the next stitch over after the chain 1. We're going to repeat these steps until we have the size that we need to divide for the legs. Once you've reached the size that you need for the waist, now we're going to begin on the legs. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide our work in half and be working each half separately to create 2 legs. Our joining row over here, this is going to be in the middle of the back. So what we're going to do is we're going to count how many stitches you have, divide that by 2, And now we're going to crochet half of the stitches around. So let's go ahead and do that. I have 74 stitches all around, so I'm going to do now half of that, which is 37 stitches. $36 and 37. Okay, so now I did 37 stitches, which is exactly half. And now I'm going to connect it at the beginning over here, just like we would connect it if it was a new row. So let's find that chain 1 over here, slip stitch into there, just like that. Okay, now chain 1, I'm gonna turn it around and continue now going only on this side until I reach the end, and again going back and forth, creating this first leg. So that's 1, continue on with the next one, 2, 3. Here I'm reaching the end of my second row, and I'm going to connect it just like I did all around, going into that chain 1 stitch and making a slip stitch into it, and then chain 1, turn around. This chain 1 is considered my first stitch, so I go into the next one and continue making half double crochet stitches around, just like we did over here. Now we're doing it over here until we have the length that we need for the leg. Once I've got the length that I need for the leg, now we're going to do the ribbing on the bottom over here. In the first row, we're going to do just plain double crochets all around. Every 4 stitches, we're going to do a decrease, 4 stitches, and then a decrease, 4 stitches, and then a decrease. Okay, so we're going to begin with chain 2, since we're doing double crochet. And now, here's that first one over here, so we're going into the next one. We're going to go into both loops this time, just like a regular stitch, and make a double crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here's 4 stitches, and now we're going to do a decrease. The decrease that I like to do when I'm doing double crochet is as follows. I'm going to go into this stem over here that's in between these 2 stitches. So I yarn over and then go inside from here, almost like making a front post double crochet like we did by the ribbing. It's pretty much the same idea. I'm going in between these 2 stitches, and now I'm making a regular double crochet, and I basically stitched these 2 together. So now we have 1, and I made a decrease. So now we continue. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and now another decrease, so going through these 2 stitches in between and doing a double crochet. Okay, so that's already 2 decreases that we made. Again, it's every 4 stitches and then a decrease, 4 stitches and then a decrease. after you've reached the end of your row, I have one more stitch left, so I'm just going to stitch that regular. If you have more than one, if you have, let's say, 3 or exactly 4 or 5, then just don't do a decrease at the end. Continue stitching regularly without any decreases. So I have here my last stitch on this row. So by me, right after I did a decrease, I had one more stitch left, so I'm just going to crochet that regular. And now I'm going to go into the top of those chain 2 and slip stitch into here. And now we're going to do exactly the same as we did at the beginning. So front post, back post, front post, back post, ribbing all around. We're going to begin with 2 chain 2 and then front post, double crochet and back post, double crochet, again front post, double crochet and back post. And we're going to continue this all around. We're going to make again 2 rounds of ribbing of front post and back post double crochet. I'm almost done my second row over here. I'm up to the last back post crochet over here, back post stitch, and now I'm going to slip stitch, and that's it. Leave it at that. Then you could cut your yarn, leaving a little bit of a tail for sewing in. Pull it through to close it. And our first leg is done. You can see it on the front side over here with this very nice ribbing on the bottom. And now all that's left to do is do exactly the same on this side. So to begin, we need to make sure that we're on the right side. So over here, because here's where we joined this leg. So we are continuing this row now. Here, grab your hook and your yarn. Find the first stitch that we need to go into. So this one is still from, the way I like to do it is like this. First, I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail so that afterwards we could close up this little hole that's going to become over here. Oops, make sure you're holding the yarn correctly. And find your stitch. So it's not this one, it's the one right after over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the yarn through this stitch once like this, and now I have my loop over here. And now I'm going to do a chain 1, which this is going to be our chain 1 from the beginning of our row. So this is the chain 1 stitch over here. And now we can continue making our half double crochets into the back loops all the way around. I do suggest counting your stitches just to make sure you have exactly the same amount as the other leg. So I have here 1, 2, 3, 4. Here I'm almost at my last stitch and I've counted 37 over here. I can see that this next stitch is already connected to this leg, so that's not what I need. I have already enough stitches. And now I'm going to join it in the round by that chain 1 that I did over here at the beginning, making a slip stitch. Okay, again, don't worry about that hole that we're going to close up later. Chain 1 and continue on. That's our first stitch, 2, and we're going to continue on this way, making exactly the same amount of rows as this one, and then the 2 rows of ribbing. We're going to repeat that on this side. So I'll meet you when that's done. Once our second leg is done, now we're going to close up this hole over here. So we're going to turn this inside out. This is just I had to attach a new ball of yarn, so just ignore that. This one also. But we're going to concentrate on this tail over here that we left. Now taking a darning needle, put it through. I like to put my hand from the outside, and like this I could hold it strongly over here. And now I'm just going to go through both sides and just stitch them together like that. I'm going to do another one over here and like that. Okay, there we go, nice and closed over here. There's a little one over here, let's try to close it up as well. This is basically just going with the flow, and if you see more you want to close up, then just go through a few more times until you're satisfied. Then at the end I'm just going to go through one place and make a knot. So I'm going through that loop like that. Now I'm going to sew in this end just over here, going through a few times, and now I could cut off this tail over here. Okay. Let's turn it back to the right side. Okay, while I have the darning needle out, I'm going to sew in these 2 tails over here also. Let's do the one from the beginning over here as well, and we're going to close up this little V over here. So let's get that done. So I'm going to find the corner of this side and go in like that, and now I'm going to actually no, on the inside. Let me go back to here and just make 1 or 2 stitches connecting both sides. Close it up nicely. Okay, that should be enough. Now let me make a knot like that and sew in this end. And sew it in. So we're almost done. We've already basically done everything. The last thing that we're going to do is make a little chain to go around here so that you can adjust the size of the waistband. So take your hook and the yarn, make a slip knot, and start creating a chain that's going to be big enough to go around the pants, plus to have room to make a nice bow. Okay, that's the size that I need. Once you have the size that you need, cut off, leaving a little bit of a tail, and pull through that last loop to secure it. Okay, now we're going to take again our darning needle, and it should have enough of a hole that you'll be able to put through the chain like that. And now we're going to start in middle of the front. So just find where's the middle, and I'm going to go through here. You can see between that front post there's these two holes on both sides, so I'm going to go through both of these holes like that, and then through this one over the back post and behind the next front post, and I'm going to go around like that all around. Make sure that you're keeping on the same row all around so that it should be nice and neat. So basically going on both sides of the front posts. Here is the back, so I'm just going to fiddle around over here, trying to make it still even. Okay, that should be fine. Okay, I've reached the last one over here. Now let's take out the needle, and I'm going to adjust it a bit so that it should be nice and even strands on both sides. Like this tail is way too long, let me trim it. Okay, pull that through a bit more, trying to get them to be as even as possible. Okay, and now let me just make a nice little bow over here just to get that final look. And there you go. Your baby pants are all done. I hope you enjoyed and you'll have fun making this as much as I did. All the best!